Hi, my name is Pete Loy, and welcome to today's second edition of How Pete Rolls. Today we're going to talk about recycling oyster shells to use in your garden. In order to do this, you'll need some tools. You'll need protective rubber gloves, safety glasses, water, and bleach. And lastly, you'll need a tamping tool. Webster's defines tamping as repeatedly pounding downward in light strokes for compaction. Also, you see that I have on my white shrimping boots. We also call these McClellanville bedroom slippers or Moorhead wingtips. Okay, let me show you what I've got going over here. Watch out, Peach. Alright, I've got a 55-gallon plastic barrel, and it's full to the top of discarded oyster shells from an oyster roast. This has been sitting up for about a week with water and bleach. One thing you want to be cautioned of is bleach can hurt your fingers. Matter of fact, check this out. That's why you want to wear protective gloves when working with bleach. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is put on my gloves and put on my safety glasses. You don't want this bleach splashing up in my eyes. Okay? And then I'm going to dump this down into this area. Okay. Now that we've done that, I'm going to, whoops, got to get rid of this. Now that we've done that, I'm going to spread out these oyster shells. And this is actually where I want these oyster shells to end up. I'm going to use this as kind of a soft hardscaping, so to speak, instead of having to put down grass or bricks or anything like that that just takes more maintenance. So, in order to get these oyster shells the way I want them, I've got to pulverize them with my tamping tool. And that goes something like this. Now the reason you're doing that is you want to break open the shells and get them into, say, $half sizes. And there's also quite a few shells that have oyster meat still in it. And we're going to go through a period of about a month where this oyster meat is going to continue to rot. It's going to smell a little foul. You're going to get flies. You're going to get like the dog in there eating it. That's just part of the game. And what I'll do is I'll actually come out here every evening after work and tamp on this stuff to help break it down. There's no rush to get that done. Then, after a couple weeks, your oysters are going to start to look like this. As you can see, they're starting to break down because I've been tamping them. The little pieces of meat that were once in there are for the most part gone. After about 2 more weeks like this, I'll get them about to where they need to be. Alright, walk with me and I'll show you what stage 3 looks like. Okay, now what we've got here is a little garden path that I've created. This is stage 3. This is as good as it gets right here. You'll see how these shells are broken down to a much smaller size, and they don't smell anymore. The flies aren't on them, and it creates this nice little walkway to get into that outbuilding. So these can be used for all sorts of different landscape projects where you don't want to use, say, bricks or pavers or plant sod. And it's a pervious surface, which means every time it rains, it's not going to run off and create a water ponding situation. It's going to percolate through. Now, another thing these oyster shells are used for is actually worm farming, and it's actually used in compost. These shells are calcium rich, and let me show you how we use that to feed a plant. Alright, here's a worthy plant to put some compost on. This plant probably needs some calcium. So what I'll do is I'll broadcast the oyster shells around the base of the plant like that, and then just work it in with a garden tool. And we'll let God do the rest. Let me show you another part of my yard that I got a project plan for. Okay, this area of my yard requires some work. What happens here is my lovely and talented wife Liz come home in her car, she'll open her door, and because the driveway is not wide enough, she'll step out here in the flower garden. And if it's raining, it's a muddy mess, and we track it in the house. So what I'm going to do here, instead of pouring concrete to widen the driveway, is I will dig out a little bit of this topsoil and bring in my oyster shells and compact them. Since we're kind of close to this tree right here, this is a really good application, because if I were to pour concrete in here, it could damage the roots of this tree and kill it. So I figure I could get this done in about 3 hours. My wife will be happy, and I'll get some points with that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on How Pete Rolls.